Good evening all and welcome to another video on All How the Ale. It's alcohol free night and it's another can versus bottle night. And the can versus bottle tonight is these two. It is Heineken in a can and Heineken in a bottle. It's the alcohol free ones, of course. And yeah, I picked these up this week in Tesco's. Box of 12 of the bottles and case of 6 of the cans. Still not sure why they do the cans in 6 and the bottles in 12, but there we go. Anyway, both of them are completely alcohol-free with natural flavourings, 0.0% ABV. There's very little spiel on the bottle at all. It just says it's brewed by Heineken, imported by Heineken UK. Does it say where it is brewed? Does it? No. Probably does on the box, but nevertheless. Your ingredients are water, malted barley, hop extract, and natural flavourings, and that is the same for both the can and the bottle. Will there be a difference? We'll find out. We're going to do the usual 5 pillars of judgment: the looks, the aroma, the body, the taste, and the finish. The winner of each one gets a point. The one with the most points at the end is the winner. So yeah, we're going to do it in the usual 2 glasses. The can will go into the Vocation glass, and the bottle will go into the Tiny Rebel glass. We'll start with the bottle and see how it goes, shall we? So, pouring into the Tiny Rebel. Schooner, pour, is pale, clear, as we expect, let's be honest. And we'll leave a little bit in the bottle. So what we got? We've got a clear golden lager, crystal clear, with good carbonation rolling up to nucleation points. And you've got a pretty tight white head. Let's see if we can get that any closer. There you go. That's your beer up close in a glass. Looks good. And the can into the Vocation glass. And the pour is, again, pale and clear. Maybe not quite so. Maybe it is. We'll see. Anyway, golden and clear, similar tightness on the head, not quite as tight I'd say, but otherwise good carbonation again, coming up from the nucleation points. Not as rapid, and we're hoping we're going to see this side by side. Now, maybe not, but I take it from me, if you can't see it on the video, the bottle, the carbonation is coming up much faster than it is in the can, and there's a lot more of it from the nucleation points. So, yeah, they both otherwise look all right. There's really very little to call between them. So let's get the board of joy and award the first point. The board of joy currently looks like so, and the point is going to go, for me, ever so slightly to the bottle, because of the tightness of the head and that little bit more carbonation coming up from the nucleation points. So we're going to go for the aroma test next, and we're going to start with the bottle, of course, in the Tiny Rebel glass. Light, slightly peppery, slightly metallic, lager-like aroma. And the can, it's much the same, but it's like Spinal Tap had been in and dialed up the metallic aroma to 11. It's only really apparent on the first whiff. Yeah, it's gone after the first whiff. Otherwise, they are neck and neck. They are, simply put. So that one is a score draw. The aroma is pretty much the same after the first whiff. Anyway, the body test. I expect these to be the same, I'm going to be honest. They are the same beer, but I have seen it before where they are slightly different in the carbonation delivery anyway. And we have a difference visually on the carbonation. Will that translate into the tasting? Let's find out. So the can first. light to medium, good carbonation, reasonable mouthfeel, and the bottle smoother carbonation, same sort of mouthfeel. Let's go in to validate that parking. Absolutely, there is a difference in the carbonation delivery. The bottle is so much smoother. The can version is slightly more prickly on the carbonation. It's kind of attacks you that little bit harder. But otherwise, they're the same. And again, I prefer the smoother delivery of the bottle. So that's a point to the body of the bottle. Anyway, the most important bit of any beer is the flavour, and that's no different here, just because we're doing can versus bottle. I want a good lager flavour, but is there a difference? Let's find out. So the flavour on the bottle it tastes like every bottle of Heineken alcohol-free I've ever had, and I've had quite a few because it seems to be one of the most commonly available alcohol-free beers out there. It is hoppy to a point. It's got a good malt behind it. There is a pleasant, subtle bitterness. And there's a little something fruity. Anyway, the can version. Tastes a little more metallic, I have to say. It is definitely more metallic. A little less sweet. I wouldn't have expected it. I would not say these are the same beers to taste them. There's a definite additional sweetness and smoothness to the bottled version. Whereas if you like them a little more bitter, you're going to probably prefer, and metallic for that case, you're probably going to prefer the can. It's quite the difference. So this one is very much going to be a matter of preference. Do you prefer the slightly more metallic, slightly more bitter version of the can, or do you prefer the slightly smoother, sweeter version in the bottle? And normally, I would go for the more bitter beer. I'm a fan of bitter beers, as it may be obvious by now. But in this instance, the bitterness comes with a trade-off of metallic nature, and I don't like that very much. Let's go in for the bottle. And yeah, so we have one last pillar of judgment to go, and that's the finish. On a lager, I like them to be clean and refreshing mostly. I like the peppery nature of some hops that you get. Which one has more of all of that? Start with the bottle. It is clean. It is crisp. It is refreshing. Now, the bitterness that I spoke about, the subtle, pleasant bitterness, does tend to come from the hops. And it's all right. Whereas the can version, it is also clean, crisp, and refreshing. But the bitterness is more. There is not really a pepperiness in either. But there is that slightly oily hop bitterness that comes through that little bit more on the can version. And truth be told, metallic nature doesn't really sit in the back end. It's really on the main tasting. Yeah, so the point here is going to go to the can. It is. So what do we got? We've got a 4-2 victory for the bottle with a score draw on the aroma. They were both pretty good, to be fair, on the aroma. So I couldn't really give them 0-0 draw. It was a score draw. So yeah, 4-2 in favour of the bottle. So we have another win for the bottles. We still only have one can that wins. That was the Erdinger. and that was a surprise. This is not really a surprise, but there we go. It's good fun to compare them to see what differences there really are, and there is a difference in the flavour. There is a difference in the body, and it was bigger than I thought it would be. I'm going to be honest. I expected it to be closer because it's macro brewed, and they like to have everything down to like the finest degree, just so they can screw every penny out of the recipe that they can, and that would normally mean they go for consistency. But in this case, the bottle is a clear winner. Didn't expect it really, but there we go. Have you tried both of these? If you have, let me know what you think in the comments section below. And we will leave it there and say, these have been the beers. I've been me. Those down there are the buttons. You know exactly what to do with them by now. You got your like, comment, dislike, and subscribe. Choose any combination of them as you wish. And I will see you again soon for another one. Bye for now.